Alright guys, just wanted to, I have 4 more videos to make because the CHS playoff starts tomorrow, or starts tonight rather, I believe, but anyway, I just want to talk about something real quick, and I thought this would be good to talk about because it is important. It is important, and it's important to me, and I know it doesn't matter to a lot of other people. Sorry about that, give me a moment. Alright, I apologize, but anyway, I just want to talk about something real quick. I had to watch the Georgia and Alabama game last Saturday, without listening to Scott in the gang, and it was actually Jeff doing the game, but point aside, I had to listen to that game without listening to Scott, Chuck, Adam in the gang, or watch the game without listening to Scott, Adam in the gang. It just felt very, very depressing. And I just want to make this video real quick. The Georgia Bulldogs radio network is the greatest radio of all sports. I mean, I love them all so much. We appreciate everything they do. It is not an easy job, traveling every week and all that. So I just want to make this. I love Scott, Eric, DJ, Hondo, and then basketball, Chuck, Luke, Adam. I love those guys all so much. They work very hard on these radio broadcasts, and that's what, I don't know, I can't explain it, but that's why so for those who don't know how I do my radio highlights, is that I let the entire game record, and I didn't do it Saturday because I got mad that they lost and didn't save the recording, but when I went back in, I was going to do it when I went back. Georgia had not archived the game, they just archived the first 30 minutes of the coverage, but I'll record the game in its entirety, and then chop it after it, and then upload both, save both on personal files, and then only release the highlights. I used to release both the full games. If you remember, I did it for Oregon and Wake Forest and Miami last year, or 2 years ago now, 2023. But that took a lot of time. And that was very time consuming. It just got to the point where I couldn't do that. But on games that Scott does, I will archive the entire game. And if it's from a special station, I always meant my recordings play 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after. So, like, if it's something from, 97.1 The River, like we had against Tennessee 3 weeks ago, that was a very, very, unique game, because Georgia had not been on 97.1 The River for like 4 years, since like 2022, so I felt it was needed to record that game. And then obviously, like the game versus Kentucky, very rare wins. I record the entirety of every game, don't get me wrong, but that was just a special one. And I love Scott and the gang so much. Scott Howard is absolutely one of the best not absolutely, one of the best. I'll rephrase that. Scott Howard is the best broadcaster ever. He is the best broadcaster in the state of Georgia. Don't get me wrong. Ben Ingram, Andy Demetris, any sports, Steve Holman. I love them all dearly, but Scott is my favorite, and I love him very much. Anyway, what I was saying is, no disrespect to the other broadcasters in the state, but Scott Howard is the best. I mean, I love him so much. He is absolutely the best broadcaster in the state of Georgia and in the world, really. You name me a broadcaster better than Scott Howard. And then after Scott, you have Zaire, Eric, who played for Georgia. He's already earned his dog stripes. He's arguably the greatest Georgia quarterback to never win a national championship. In my opinion, he's the greatest Georgia quarterback ever. But so '07, he has his first games on games he didn't do. He was on the tailgate show with Hondo, and I mean, it was just to hear how much he improved was actually very, very cool. And from games from '07 to now, he's Dyer's the best color announcer in sports. You name me, especially on TV. I mean, there's a lot of these guys who know nothing about sports on TV. Zaire's the best. He never cuts off. He never talks over Scott. He never yells over Scott. He always lets Scott finish talking when he talks, and then Zaire gives his analyst. And DJ Shockley is great too. He's the sideline reporter for the Dogs. DJ is great. I mean, and DJ does such a fantastic job. He does wonderful. I love listening to Shock. And then Hondo, and Hondo's I love, or one of my favorites. I mean, I love Hondo so much, man. He's my favorite. He's my favorite host. There we go. Because Scott's my favorite sports announcer. Zaire's my favorite color announcer. Hondo's my favorite host, and Shock is my favorite sideline reporter. But Hondo does a wonderful job. Now, he did do color analyst back when Munson did the games. Hondo did color analyst for certain games that Scott would not been able to do because of basketball, because Scott was the full-time basketball announcer. And some of those games include 2002 Tech, 2000 Tech, 2006 West Virginia. I assume there's never been anything from that game, unfortunately. I would like to hear Larry Munson's call of the '06 West Virginia game, but there is not anything of it available. That was always an odd game, but or that was an odd game anyway. But Hondo's the best. I love listening to the tailgate show. I listen to it. I listen to all hours, and then of course Jeff and Kevin to end the to start the night and end the night on the Dog Talk pregame. They do such a great job, and always they go long, man. Like they do coverage until like 2 or 3 in the morning, so they all work absolutely very, very hard. And of course, Lauren Smith, I mean the polymath of the creator of the tailgate show. The Georgia Bulldogs Radio Network would not be nowhere where it is today without Lauren Smith. So absolutely, just credit all of them, man. We love them so much. They are the best radio. Georgia Bulldogs Radio Network is the best radio crew of all sports. It's the best radio network. That even goes to the people you don't hear. You know, in basketball, I mean, you don't hear Luke Nancardi. I love Luke. He's one of the best. He doesn't get the appreciation he deserves. And of course, Adam Gillespie. The faces, the voices you don't hear do so much for them, and it's all appreciated. And even, I mean, it starts with Georgia Bulldogs sports marketing and Learfield. Now, I don't have names, so I can't tell you who all that is, but it starts with Learfield, and it starts with Georgia. I can't lie. Some of these still wishes the Georgia games were locally produced with WSB. But I think Georgia is in great hands with Learfield. I will only ever dislike Learfield is if they switch announcers. Like, if they get rid of Scott one day and Eric and Hondo, I will be livid. I will be absolutely pissed off. That would be the worst day of my life. But I'm cool with Learfield. They are the best sports marketing, multimedia. They do such a great job. Learfield really has changed the game for a lot of other people. So, yeah. So, I did want to say that this is a thank you Georgia Bulldogs Radio Network video. Thank y'all all so much for names I didn't name. For people I did not say thank you to, um, but I love them all so much, man. Saturday made me really sad that I couldn't listen to that game Saturday, and I love listening to games with Scott and the gang. I love listening to old games with Scott and the gang too. Unfortunately, we only have a limited um, section, but I mean, I listen to games from 2018 or 19 every day, man. I love Scott and the gang so much. So, um, yeah, thank y'all.